Let me get a voice in on both the currency and the money markets and see how they've read recent developments. Joining me is Neeraj Gambhir, MD and co-head of fixed income at Nomura India. Mr. Gambhir, very good morning to you, sir. Thanks so much for coming in, and I apologize to have kept you waiting. I just want to start by getting your impression of what you made about recent developments and comments that have been coming in from the government. Seems like reforms are back on the agenda, or at least investment push is back on the agenda. Currency supportive measures are back on the agenda. Net, how have you been viewing all of these developments? Haven't spoken to you in a while.
Yeah, sure. Well, clearly, I think this is all fairly positive from a sentiment point of view. A lot of the long pending reforms are actually back onto the table. There is an active discussion around it. The government has clearly, expressed its intention to go ahead with, bringing in some of those controversial sort of reform packages, including, FDI in insurance, opening up of the pension sector. So this all seems pretty good from a sort of longer term standpoint and from a sentiment standpoint. I think the key issue is that in the near term, we still have the twin deficits to deal with. Notwithstanding the increase in diesel price, there is a substantial amount of diesel under recovery. So the subsidies are going to be a key issue, and hence fiscal deficit is still a key issue. Even though the Kelkar committee has talked about a medium-term fiscal correction, program, we need to see how much of that gets implemented in the coming years. So I guess in the near term, not much direct impact onto the twin deficit numbers, but this is certainly a very good sort of movement. Coming out of a complete limbo, the government has taken a lot of initiative and action, and this is being reflected in both currency as well as the equity markets.
Just speaking about one specific factor, Mr. Gambhir, I mean, the finance minister was in Bombay over the weekend, and he made a very specific comment saying that the risk of a downgrade is not imminent according to him. I mean, part of it may be talk, but part of it could be linked to the government actions that have been initiated. Just as that one factor on the currency market which had been weighing down sentiment, do you think for now it's gone to the back burner?
Well, I certainly feel that given all that has happened over the last few weeks, the rating agencies could probably take a little bit longer to reassess the impact of all this onto the budget and onto the fiscal deficit numbers. And I think there could be a chance that they could wait a little longer before taking a decision whether or not to downgrade India at this point in time. I think the most important criteria from a rating agency's point of view, and this is my opinion, that it will be what is the sort of steps taken from a medium-term standpoint on fiscal correction. I think that's the key. That's the sort of key parameter that a lot of people will be watching out for.
Okay, so if we see, for instance, maybe not recommendations from the Kelkar committee for this year, but some of those roadmaps, at least in terms of numbers where you go from here, if the government comes in and reiterates their commitment to that, do you think that would be a critical aspect?
Yeah, I do feel that rating agencies are likely to take a more medium-term view than just a near-term view, and hence the direction of the fiscal deficit and path to fiscal reform is extremely critical.
You mentioned the twin deficits, sir. I mean, apart from the fiscal deficit side, the current account numbers are also uncomfortable. I mean, I know that the capital flow situation has changed, so we are BOP, positive, at least in the last round of numbers that came in. But do you think that is enough to justify the way the currency has moved?
I think there was a lot of overhang on the currency of the fact that we were running close to 4% in terms of CAD. There was a virtual drying off the capital flows, and the sentiment around India and the rating news was quite negative. So there was obviously a lot of negative sentiment around INR. And also we were going through a global sort of risk-off mode. So what's happened in the last few weeks is that while there has been this positive noise from the government side, there has also been an improvement in the risk sentiment globally, and both of these factors have kind of weighed in for the currency's performance. Like I mentioned before, all the reform measures that have been talked about by the government have actually been positive from the capital flow standpoint. But I think as far as the underlying current account deficit is concerned, we're still looking at about 3.5% of GDP as a deficit. It's a fairly large number. It basically means that our dependence on foreign capital flows will continue to be fairly high. And in an environment where the risk sentiment keeps on changing from positive to negative, we are still quite susceptible to the foreign capital flows and the vagaries of foreign capital flows. So that basically means that rupee is likely to trade quite volatile, till such time the global economic environment sort of settles down and improves, we could continue to be trading sort of a lot more volatile, in a lot more volatile fashion than what we've done in the last couple of years maybe.
What's the house view, sir, on the currency right now?
Well, we had a sort of a very near-term appreciation view, which has sort of played out. I think we are currently in a zone where the rupee should consolidate in and around 52, maybe 51.5, 52.5, unless and until the global environment sort of worsens significantly. But given the fact that we still are a large current account deficit country, our dependence on capital flows, our longer-term view on rupee is still quite bearish. I still think that next year could be playing out a little bit differently than this year has played out from a currency standpoint. So we still continue to maintain, the fact that we will probably depreciate after this consolidation phase.
Okay, that's interesting. So just moving on to the money markets, the bond markets in particular, I think that's the one market which has not responded in terms of pricing at all. I mean, yields are stuck at 8.15. The government came in and said no additional borrowings. There's a lot more, sort of dovish talk around the central bank and potential action there. But yields have not responded at all.
I think, in a very proverbial terms, the bond market is stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's on the one hand, we have large size of government borrowing program. On the other hand, we also have inflation, which the market has to contend with. And both of these factors have not really changed substantially. It is true that the government has stuck to its additional, its overall borrowing program for the second half, and they have not announced anything incremental at this point in time. But there is still, a residual probability that somewhere in the month of December, you could see some additional borrowing being announced. Even if you, take into account the fact that probably government can get by with the already announced, borrowing program, it still is a very large amount of borrowing that the market has to contend with. From a monetary policy standpoint, we would have some sympathetic moves by Reserve Bank. We've already seen a CRR cut being done. There is already a talk about whether the October policy could see a a rate cut or a repo rate cut. But fundamentally, it doesn't look likely for Reserve Bank to move in a substantial way from a monetary policy standpoint till such time inflation numbers come down. Our view is that the next inflation print could be quite high, and that would again sort of look to put back some kind of a rethink in bond markets' mind as to where do yields go from here. So I do feel that markets are going to be extremely range bound. On the one hand, you have positive news, positive flows. On the other hand, the issues of fiscal deficit and inflation continue to remain.
So in that sense, sir, I mean, say if we get, or hypothetical, say if we get a repo rate action from the RBI at the end of October, will yields respond, move closer to, at least 8.10, if not towards 8 probably seems like a stretch?
To my mind, a repo rate cut at this point in time is a low probability event. I do feel that if any monetary policy action has to happen, it could probably be CRR. Though our house views is no change in the rates or no change in any of the monetary policy variables. But in the event, there is a repo rate cut by RBI, it will certainly be positive for bond markets. So I do feel that market can, 10-year can move towards 8% or at least test 8% for a while.
All right, let's see how it plays out. Mr. Gambhir, pleasure speaking to you, sir. Thanks so much for making time, and apologies again for any inconvenience. Thanks for coming in on the show.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.